All right, we should be live. It says we're live, so I'm gonna assume that we're live. So today we're gonna continue our Q&A for all things music production. So if you have a question, this is the time to bring it to the table. Appreciate you guys for being so dope, hopping in our Discord with us. We have 114,000 people in our Discord. So let me double check the numbers actually. Let me do this in real time. See how many people we got in our Discord. So here's the Discord. It's discord.gg/busyworksbeats. Let's see how many folks we got in here now. We got 114,261 folks in the Discord. We're the world's fastest growing music production community. Discord, basically it's a producer city. That's what it is. You can live stream here. You can collab in real time. You can join beat battles. You can get song feedbacks on Fridays. You can get free downloads, samples from all the classic hip hop records. You got loops for days. Everybody who makes dope loops is in here. We got some tips and tricks in here as well. All right, so that's our Discord in a nutshell. It's pretty much productive people coming together to be more productive. That's what it is. So let me make sure I'm letting the Discord know that we're live. So give me a second here, y'all. Because last time I sent the link, it was the wrong link. I sent y'all to the Producer Royalty channel by accident. I meant to send you guys to the live stream, so that's my fault. But let me do this again. Ask me anything about music production live. Give me 1 sec, y'all. I'm just letting the Discord know we're live. There we go. JLA cases, how did you work with all these famous rappers? So when you say work with, do you mean when I say we've trained over 1 million producers around the world? Some have gone to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Polo G, Trippie Redd, Lil Baby, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and a long list of folks. So my students are the ones who have gotten those opportunities, okay? And basically the way most of those people got opportunity is because they were a part of Sony. Sony tends to be, from what I understand, it could be different, but I've noticed they focus on hip hop and R&B. Anybody I talk to, I'm like, who you guys sign with? Sony. It's usually a Sony Connect. So that's, basically when you sign to a, one of those companies, they basically broadcast opportunities. So let's say they're making a movie or a TV show called like Power, for example, and they need music for it. So they sign people so that think of it this way. If I was, what's a grocery store near you guys? What's up? Love Tebza is here. We got Tudor here. We got Dirty Goose is back in the building. Thank you for hopping back in. We got, who else is up in this piece? We got AZ Funk Ed. Why, hello there. We got Laval here, and I'm taking all questions. We're going to go top to bottom. ATZ is here. So, for example, a grocery store like Trader Joe's, for example, they get their groceries because they have suppliers. And those suppliers are usually farmers or a company that delivers a product, a manufacturer. What up, Coast Wavy? Italo is here. And so the same thing with Sony. They're the grocery store for music, basically. And Whole Foods. What up, Puppies? That's such a funny name, Puppies. What up, the man? And so they are the grocery store for music. So we are the farmers for them. And so the way they make sure their groceries are consistently stocked, think about a grocery store. You walk in, you immediately see the produce. That's your big mainstream artist. Okay, you're going to see the Drakes, the Bias of the world, the whoever else is of the world. Then you go to the back aisle, way in the back with the random juices. That might be your production. Okay. You're not in the main ecosystem up front, but you're in the back somewhere. So everybody has shelf space and everybody is in a specific aisle, aka genre or in lane, literally a lane. And, that's how it works is music like Sony, Universal, and Warner are basically big grocery stores. And the way they get products for their grocery store is if you go to any good grocery store like a Trader Joe's, they create new products. So that gets people back into the store. What up, Skincare Goat? And everybody else. Young Twofer is here. Ramat is here. 7'5". Kaleem is here. Aunt Q's is here. What up? Swag like Ohio. That sounds like a bass god lyric. Creativeness is here. Colossus is here. And so when you understand the music business like that, like it's just a big grocery store and you're just a farmer for the grocery store or somebody who builds a product to go into the grocery store, it will make more sense. So his initial question was, let me go all the way back. It says, how did you work with all those famous rappers? So most people, they create a distribution, they create a deal, I'll say, I'll just keep it simple, with the metaphorical grocery store. So once you're in the grocery store, you're a lot closer to aisle 7 than the person who's not inside the grocery store. Okay, so that's as simple as it gets. And now it becomes a game of how do you get from aisle 7 to the produce aisle where people see it right when you walk into the store. So that is how the music industry works in a nutshell. I'm generalizing using metaphor here, but that's how people get around these top artists. Just understand that a company like Sony will email blast everybody that they signed, and they'll say, hey guys, we're working on Power. We need music for this. AKA, we need ingredients for our new product we want to put in our music store. Okay, we want to make this chocolate ice cream that has a twist with caramel and peanuts in it, and it's 2 feet long. Okay, so now they need all the people who create those components to build that specific thing, and they contribute for that idea. And whoever gets picked from those, opportunities, the supervisors who manage those opportunities, whoever, they go through the music or the components and they make sure that it matches up with the product they're trying to build, aka the TV show I just talked about. That's usually how placements come about. It's not like, the producer and artist are best friends and they met in high school. Sometimes it works that way, but most of the time it's a company sends out opportunity, people respond to the opportunity, emails basically, and if they get chosen, then they work with the person. Now, people who are more hands-on entrepreneurial, they might go out in the field, go to clubs, meet people, and network that way, but it's not always how it goes down. It's mainly the way I just said it. It's how people get placements. So again, if you're not a part of that grocery store, you got to think, how are you going to get your product distributed in that grocery store? You got to be a part of their system, a part of their matrix. And that's where people kind of, decide their fate. Next question up is Tudor. That was a great question, by the way. Tudor says, let me turn my keyboard on. Tudor says, if I send a beat, can you tell me if the 808s are out of key? We're going to do that on Fridays. Check. Fridays is our song feedback. Hold on, y'all. All right, there we go. Sorry, something popped up on my screen. Okay, Fridays is song feedback. We'll do that. Laval says, how much for you to mix and master a song? I don't offer that service. Maybe I used to back in the day, but I don't do that anymore. I don't sell time anymore. ATZ says, yo, quick question, because I ain't got time. How does one get signed? You mean like as a producer? You have to have some kind of leverage. Most people who get noticed by these companies, they went in. Okay, I'll be short. Let's say Coast Wavy met Atalo and they're best friends. They make a dope song. The song blows up on SoundCloud. It has 100,000 100,000 plays on SoundCloud. Then it picks up on streaming, and now it's streaming up to 1 million plus. You'll start getting attention from people who, like we had a conversation with Daniel Cruz earlier from Producer Royalty. There's certain people who have thresholds, and they go scout the internet for people who pass that threshold. Then they reach out to you. You don't go into an office and say, hey, I would like to apply to be a Sony artist. There's no job like that. I don't know why people fantasize music as like this job, this corporation. It's just not like that unless you're in the music business side of things. So yeah, long story short is they'll come to you when you have enough fire. Or just go to writers camps. You might be able to get in the mix a little bit quicker. Atalo says, I'm 23 and want to produce 10,000 hours and write it down how much I have to produce every day. Do the math. I don't know. 10,000 hours divided by 365. Doing that in 1 year, I think is half impossible. Ask ChatGPT. How many years would that take? If you spent 5 hours a day, nonstop, back to back, no breaks, only focused on music, how many days would it take to reach 10,000? So 5 hours a day times 2,000 days, which is like 7 years straight of just nonstop practicing. So, I mean, is that realistic to never stop for 7 years and practice 5 hours a day? I don't think that's realistic for anybody. So you got to ask yourself if that's realistic or not. Let's see here. Swag Like Ohio says, I'm a beginner at producing and I want to make very experimental hip hop type beats. What is a good way to start? I would start with music theory because a lot of people they skip over theory, and that's why they're not getting to any uniqueness. Like, let me show you guys something real quick. Oh, I don't even have the app up. So something as basic as a 5-to-1 resolution, like here's a B minor 9. Just understanding how to go from here to that chord right there, and then back down. That takes you out of the genre, just like that. Now you're making stuff that you just normally wouldn't make. Now you're in ballad territory, you're in R&B territory, you're in something that's different than just this, which is hip hop. Because it's only 2 chords, even though it's a 2-chord sequence, it doesn't have enough push and pull to feel like this. So I'm playing 2 chords. I'm just strumming it out, or picking the notes out. So it's arpeggiating it out, whatever the word is. So it sounds more like emotional. And then you could learn stuff like this, where you take A, for example. 5-1. It's just the same concept, just applied to a different area. Okay, so I butchered the crossover chord, but hopefully you grab that concept. Is music theory is going to take you outside of your bubble. It starts with the music theory first, then everything else. If you want to learn music theory, go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory. Young Twofer says, my FL saying I should buy it. A license, how? Go to image-line.com. If you're on Mac, do not update your FL Studio to the latest version. It F's up on Mac. I don't know what they thought releasing that. Don't update to the latest FL 24.2.2. It'll F up your Mac. It's just weird. You'll click on an effect and it will just randomly pick random plugins. Has a weird glitch. So don't update if you're on Mac to the latest version. If anything, go to the forum, go to the archive, download 24.1.2. That's a better version. Ramat says, can I get your number? My email is info@busyworksbeats.com. That's the only place people can contact me about anything business related. I don't have any other contact point. 75 says, Busy. Oh, hello, Busy. Feels good seeing you. You're one of the goats who got me so hooked to producing. Shout out to 75. What kind of chord you want, 75? Wanna play a good? Oh, I found a dope chord yesterday just messing around. Forgot what I did. Oh, okay. Here's the chord. I'm going to see how to implement this, but is this not popping up? My fault, y'all. Hold up. Here's a little chord. Here's the major 9, but then add the 6th and take away the 7th. So it goes like this. And then what you do is you drop the 3rd down a half step. So it goes. Just that little change right there. Then you could ask, okay, what is F the 5th of? You count down 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's B flat. So I'm going to make a B flat. What is it? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'll do something like this. I'm freestyling here. I didn't practice this before. So yeah, so we're going to go minor in this case. So 0. All right, so anyway, it goes like this. And then that didn't resolve right. I thought it would resolve way better than that. Never mind. I'm going to work on that. But that's the chord I found by accident. That little turnaround chord sounds nuts. Just wanted to share that with y'all. Still working on the concept there. Kaleem says, what's good, fam? Producer here. What tips or advice do you have for faster start to finish workflow for producing beats for producing in 15 minutes? Firstly, we got to make sure we get the grammar right. I think that will help fix all the confusion in the head. You gotta think properly. First, No, I'm just playing. Kaleem says, basically, what tips or advice do you have to finish a beat faster in 15 minutes? Every beat, you just have to realize, in my opinion, that every beat is not meant to be done in 15 minutes. Like, especially when you have to play out chords like this. Again, I'm going to play the same chord I just played before. So, like, that's going to take you longer to play that out than somebody who's just clicking in a D minor chord with a D, with the suspended second that sounds like this. Because they can copy and paste that in like a millisecond, whereas playing out something with a lot of emotion, you literally are playing it in real time. There's no way to 2x speed that. Okay, so it depends on genre, basically. So if it's trap, yeah, you might be able to make a beat in 15 minutes. Will it sound amazing in 15 minutes? Maybe, but I think people exaggerate when they say they made hits in 15 minutes. Yeah, but the thing is, mixing it with the vocal took more time too. It's not just producing the beat. So long story short, I mean, your question is more genre focused than you might think it is. Aunt QZ, and if I'm not in the current chat, so hold on, somebody's spamming. Why you spamming, my guy? We're doing that on Friday. I'm gonna have to put you on timeout. You got a spanking, 10-minute spanking. Pause. We do song feedback on Friday. But one mindset shift you guys got to make is like the world does not revolve around you. Like we don't owe you a song feedback. You didn't earn it. Like when you're promoting music, it can't be about you. Listen to my song. I was in a Twitter group. Shout out to Larry O. Shout out to TM88. It's called Might Delete Later on Twitter. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but if you're on Twitter, look for the Might Delete Later community. I just hopped in. And some people are like, all right, guys, let's go get it. Other guys are like, all right, guys, here's the tip on how to flip your kicks or whatever. And other guys are like, yo, guys, listen to this beat I just made. It's like that doesn't add value to anybody. You want people to take time out of their day to go listen to your thing for your benefit. Like that doesn't benefit anybody. So just you guys got to switch that mindset. Nobody's going to do anything for you without you doing something for them first, period. It's just never going to happen. Aunt Q says, when learning beat making, would you say less is more and completing a project beat is, or hold on. Aunt Q says, when learning how to make beats, would you say that less is more, meaning you complete the project? Or is it better to learn each structure of the beat in depth? I mean, put it this way, what is it? The master who master, what I know I'm saying this phrase wrong. The person who practices one punch 1,000 times is better than the person who does 1,000 different punches one time. So that same metaphor goes to your answer here, which is, should you go in depth about stuff? I think yes, because just doing surface level stuff over and over and over is not going to really teach you anything because you're not challenging yourself to do anything new. I know how to edit. I know how to do basic captions, basic chops here and there, but that's just to get it done. I'm not sitting there learning color grading and learning contrast and adjustments and audio and how to make it sound realistic. I'm not studying lighting. I should if I want to level up though. So if your goal is to level up, you're going to be creating the same loop of routine over and over if you don't challenge yourself. So my answer to you is, technically, yeah, you can get a beat done by doing less, but you're not really gonna feel like excited to make music because you're not learning anything anymore. So it's kind of pointless, really. Depends on how much you care about making beats, though. Young Twofer says, can you train me personally? I have a bunch of courses that actually train people better than real-time training. So go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. I don't do any coaching, hands-on coaching. I don't sell my time anymore. Creativeness says, is it possible to do some good music having only standard ear? Is it possible to do some good music having only standard eardrops? I guess you mean earphones or speakers essential here? No. Only thing producers need is their computer and some Apple earphones. These. All you need. Nothing else. These, even with the 1/8 inch instead of the lightning, whatever. Okay. Lightning connector. It's all you need because most people listen to music where? On these. And not everybody can afford a car to bang out music to. All right. Swag Like Ohio says, I'm a beginner and I want to make Okay, I think I answered that before. Colossus says, "What is it? What? Let me read this first. What is a really good synthesizer with a rich spectrum of sounds that I can use as a MIDI controller as well? Korg Kronos. If you're truly trying to get down to it, it just has so many great sounds in here. It's light years ahead of everything else I've ever used, and I have a lot of synths and stuff." Dirty Goose says, "My engineer put me onto you. I'm a low rent producer, but people tell me I'm pretty dope artist. Shout out to your engineer. Shout out to him or her, for real. Thank you. I appreciate that." Monty, what up? Good afternoon. Coast Wavy says, "I've been using your tips for almost 4 months now. My beats are sounding fire." Awesome. Do you have any tips on mixing drums to touch with the vocals? I guess glue the vocals together. Gold Clip is the easiest answer. If you can't afford Gold Clip, put Fruity Wave Shaper, make a convex curvature, mix level 50%, preamp somewhere around 50 or 60, turn the post level down to adjustment, and then run it through a Fruity Soft Clipper. It'll give you a crunch that is not overly crunchy, but Gold Clip it adds way more density. It adds way more density than FL Studio plugins. Love Tebza says, "Do you think Amapiano is creating its own lane in Sony America's grocery store?" Oh, I see what you mean. I don't study that genre enough to know. Put it this way, in America, we don't talk about Amapiano. That's just not. So, I mean, I could be wrong. Chat, you can correct me. Do you guys talk about Afrobeat? I don't. Or Amapiano? We don't really talk about that over here. It may seem big in your country, but in America, I don't think it's that big of a market. I mean, again, I could be way off. I'm speaking from the soul. Stefan says, "Busy, do you think it is good to join a record label?" I mean, are record labels pursuing you is the better question, Because if not, then you can't just sign. Like, again, I think people think music is this like job where you could just apply, like working at Microsoft or something. It's not how it works. We're all individual creators and they try to round us up. That's what they do. There's no job for this though. It's not a career. It's not a job. So I don't know if that was even the angle, but that's kind of how it feels. Schninched, I don't know how to say your name, says, what's going on, BusyWorks Beats? Can you name some instruments or VST synths that will provide you great quality sounds apart from the big ones like Omnisphere? Again, you guys keep asking for plugins. I truly don't. It probably sounds like I'm lying, but I really, really, really don't use any. Like, let me switch the screen here. I'm just gonna go through all the plugins one by one. 3X OSC, rarely use it. Maybe for sub bass. Acid V, never use it. Analog Lab, I don't use it. I don't understand. Maybe I don't know why people like it. I see why. ARP 2600, never to rarely use. Audio Clip, I don't even know what that is. The Augmented Series, never use it. Auto-Tune Slice, no. Autogun, no. Automation Clips, yes. B3, nope. Bass Drum, nope. Beat Map, nope. Boo-Bass, Buchla, Easel, nope. CA 2600, nope. Chroma, maybe if I'm feeling retro, but not really. Basically, anything on the screen, sound design, I'll use Diva. Flex has some sounds. I only use it for like my FL Studio tutorials. I don't use it because I want to. That's not an operator. We have Arturia's Juno and Jupiter. Don't use those. Now, Keyscape I will use more often, but it's very expensive. Contact I used to use way more, but now I stopped using it as much. I just kind of forgot it existed. Massive, the old version, now that's a good one for synthesizer stuff, but you have to know how to sound design. You can't go in there not knowing anything. It's not for beginners. Okay. Now, again, the old Massive, not Massive X, the old Massive. That's a really good synth, in my opinion. Man, there's a free plug. Now, Nexus, I love it for the nostalgia purposes, but for people who are not from that era, it's not going to make any sense, really, for y'all. Omnisphere, yeah. Ostyrus. This is a free plugin you guys can get. It's basically the Axis Virus TI. I have a real copy back there on in my rack. So yeah, that one is worth pursuing, and it's free. Okay, what else is here? Purity, I mean, that's a specific use case. Like, as you guys can see, I'm almost done this list of plugins. I don't use these. So when you guys keep asking me which plugins are the best sound generating plugins, I don't have an answer for you because there are none. I'd rather use this Chord Kronos, and I'm not trying to sound elitist. Nothing sounds like this though. If anything, Roland Cloud is the only plugin I could say that sounds like a keyboard. And some stock plugins like Toxic Biohazard are good for certain stuff. Morphine, you know, if I had to pick from stock stuff, Flex, Morphine, and Toxic Biohazard, that's about it. And Trillion. So yeah, so outside of those guys, you know, I know as a beginner, you may think chasing plugins is like the answer, but it's really not. You're going to be wasting years and years and years wondering why your sound just doesn't sound like what you're trying to get it to sound like. It's because you're trying to substitute something for the real thing, and this is not going to happen. Don't want to be discouraging, but that's the truth. Dirty Goose says, I need to start connecting with the community more. Come hop in our Discord. Links pinned to the chat there. Ronick says, most of the beginner music production tutorials I've seen skip over the basic terminology and they start making patterns without explaining what they're doing. That's why, you know, people like myself, actually, I don't know anybody who does it this thoroughly, but you know, that's why, hold on, I got to clear my throat. But yeah, that's my difference, is that I speak to people who know nothing about anything. And that takes a lot of expertise to show somebody who knows nothing about anything how to start and how to go to the next step. And I think people don't understand that until you become the person who wants to learn from scratch. So yeah, that's what separates me from everybody else, is I truly understand every single step of the process, from not knowing what FL is to, you know, installing it, to adding plugins. Do you need plugins? What does this thing do? What does that thing do? Oh, I ran into an error. Like, I've studied this to a high level. I don't act like I know everything about FL, but as far as being a music producer using FL, yeah, I've run into 99% of our problems we face every day. Atala says, what tip would you give if you want to produce beats like Tyga? Use your Bay Area sounds, use your res basses. Let me see if I can find one real quick. So you want basses that sound kind of like this, not this exact one. I'm gonna pick a different one in a second. But just something very short that has a resonance to it. I think this is the Kanye. Wait. Pretty sure that's the Kanye. Dun, 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 dun. Baby, don't worry about it. Man, 808s and Heartbreak was an insane album. So stuff like this, where it has a resonant, it goes like that. And then use tresillo, so it's tresillo, like that. That's the Tyga sound. It's all about that resonance bass from the Bay Area. So seek plugins that have that type of sound, that type sound. You could look at the Roland TB303. That's going to get you started. But you know, they're spread across different plugins. There's a plugin called the Player plugin, or the Player VST by DJ Idea. Look that one up. It has a lot of Bay Area sounds in it. The man says, and then you want the DJ Mustard kit for the claps and the hi-hats and kicks. The man says, at what point in a producer's career do you think it's better to sign to a label versus staying independent? I'm not trying to sound like a Debbie Downer for you guys. 99% of y'all aren't even being sought out by a label. So signing to a label is not even an option for like 99% of you guys. And that's not because you're not good. It's because it requires a very specific type of person. And that's not everybody here. You're not willing to take, you know, some of the sacrifices, which is not good or a bad thing. It's just it's certain lifestyles people want. You know, do I want to be running to studio sessions at 2 a.m. right now with a son and a family. No, that's working backwards. I'm trying to have a peaceful life, not a chaotic life. So, yeah, long story short, you said at what point in a producer's career do you think it's better to sign to a label? I think if you are really just going to sacrifice your love life, your family life, your mental health, okay, and you truly love it, I think if your motivation is social status and you really want to be around celebrities that bad, then you could sacrifice your life to do that. Now, independent and freelance, I think people should be doing that regardless of if they're signed or not. Because the biggest problem I see is when people sign to these situations and then the situation resolves and they're like, what do I do now? It's because they weren't building anything of their own the whole time. Then they come running to me asking how to go from industry to internet, and I'm like, look, you got to start from ground zero like we all did. It's not, when you hop online, there's no like people waiting for you because you got a Grammy. It doesn't translate over to online. People, the way you gain respect online is by helping people. That's the only way. If you don't help people, you're not going to have this massive following online. That's my answer to you. 7-5 says, do you think beat selling is still a thing in 2025? I'm hardly making any sales on my BeatStars. If you find the time, would you check some of my beats? We'll get to that Friday. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you guys think beat selling is dead? What do you think? I've seen kids making 10K off of YouTube streams alone, off of YouTube type beats. Does that mean you need to start a type beat channel though? Everybody's different. I don't think, man, there's so much to explain. The short answer is there's a difference between content and product. Most people are trying to upload a product to YouTube called a type beat, and they want people to view it as content. They're not the same thing. Okay, so you got to be very understanding that they're not the same thing. Online business is about 3 steps. You have traffic, you have the value exchange, and you have customer relations. And so in the beginning, the traffic part, that requires content. The value exchange part requires the product. So most people are going to step 2 without step 1, and they're wondering why the beat stores are not getting any traffic, because you're not doing anything to deserve traffic. And yeah, you might have some people get traffic off of type beats, but there's only, if you're an artist and you're typing in Bossman D-Lo type beat, you're not going to go through 80 type beats to get to one unless you're really, really dedicated to finding a type beat that you like. You're not going to go through that many. You're going to play the top 4 and that's it. You're not going to go through 80 of them. So at some point, these keywords become saturated with competition, and you got to understand how to build a brand that does not rely on one keyword, one niche, one focus. Okay, I can go deeper, but I have to be short today about that answer. Selfish says, best sound fonts. Hold on, my family's here, so let me greet them real quick, and I'll be right back, guys. So load up your questions in the chat. We're going to take a little quick intermission. Grab your snacks, your juice, and I'll be right back. I got to go say what's up to my famo. on, y'all. We got a guest celeb. Hold on. Wow, can you see yourself? All right, sorry, y'all. I was going to say what's up to Leo the King is returned. Say, hey, buddy. Say, hey, buddy. You're live. Can you say live? Say hi. Say hi. He smells like chicken nuggets, y'all. Say hi. Say hi. All you got to say is hi, and I'll let you go. Say hi. Say hi. All right, y'all, one second. Back in biz. Thank you guys for being so patient. Back in action. All right, we lost 20 people, but they weren't dedicated. That was a test to see who's dedicated to get their question answered. All right, so you guys are still rocking with me. Thank you guys for being here. So yeah, that should show you family comes before all this online bullcrap you guys are doing. Beats don't matter. People matter. Okay, recommend me a budget synthesizer. I don't have any. I'd recommend you guys just don't waste money on bullcrap because it's no point. There's no point in getting a budget this, an alternative that. There's 0 point to that. You're just going to be wasting money and time. So if anything, get Osiris. It's free. I'm all out of breath. So give me a second, yo. Forgot I was on that sound. All right, let me catch my breath so I could do some Q&A here. Kel Saint says, how do I get my vocals to duck behind the beat when I'm rapping? You want the vocals to go down behind the beat when you're rapping? If anything, you could use an early reflections reverb. I'm not sure what you mean by duck. If you mean like where the volume goes down and comes back up, you could use something like Grosbeat can do that. But if you mean how do you push the vocals behind the beat a little bit, you could use a reverb with early reflections. Okay, so that's the Jason Joshua technique he showed. Basically, you can use Wave's True Verb or Universal Audio's Real Verb or Fruity Reverb too even. And basically you use the thing called the early reflections knob, turn down the wet level, but use the early reflections knob, and that will push the sound to the back, perceived back of the mix. We got that from Jason Joshua himself. Kate says, you know about hood trap beats? Yeah. What about the 808s? Look up Flint drum kits if you're looking for that type of sound. Dirty Goose says, yes, need a particular flavor of dopamine to add to the visuals, but yes, once you are in the store, the probability increases. I don't know what you mean by that, but Kai Sar says, how do you do gangster rap beats with vocals or drum pads for beginners? Here's the chord type for West Coast stuff. Now, if you're going West Coast, any minor chord will sound fire. Let me move my keyboard real quick. So you're looking at chords like this. So let's play D, for example. Usually they play a really low bass, okay, for that, like the density. And they'll play their chords in the high end. Because it's such a dramatic, polarizing sound. And then they'll go from a minor, let me go down an octave. They'll go from a minor triad, 0-3-7 in chord code talk, to the suspended second, which is dropping the third down a note. So that's all they're doing is switching these two. That's how you get that kind of Dr. Dre type sound. Now, if you get more advanced, you could do inversions. So instead of playing normally, we could play. Again, I got to practice this more, but that way the third is the leading tone. Okay, so you get that dark tone just like that. It's all about the minor chord and the suspended second chord. So I'm still in the beginning chats. So until YouTube refreshes it, it force refreshes on me. I'm still, going in order from top to bottom here. So if you just ask the question, it will take some time for me to get to it. So bear with me here as we go through like a lot of questions in between. But yeah, Kaisar, gangster rap's also about stomp sound. Look for like Bay Area drum kits. You'll probably get the sounds you're looking for. Big Chief 80, how do you guys, when you ask questions, please try to have good grammar. I read that wrong. That's, you know what? I apologize. I read this question wrong. It says, can you do more Studio One tutorials? I don't think they update for free. So I think the update costs money, and I don't really see people supporting it that much, watching the videos enough for me to justify updating. So until it makes sense, it's going to be hard for me to update. SBZ says, yo, man, how you doing today? Chilling, man. Chilling, living life. Ronik says, is sitting down and reading the FL Studio manual page by page worth it? No, you're going to be wasting your time. Because it's not about the technical thing that FL does. You got to learn how to be a producer. That's a whole different thing. Being a producer, you can go into any DAW. You just have to learn their specific way of doing stuff. But a producer is a different thing than just understanding a software. But can it help you? Maybe you'll learn something that nobody else knows. But I think that is not really time well spent, because I haven't read the manual and I've been teaching people for years. So, I don't know, to each his own. You might be a different style learner than me. Ant Q's says, I'm a songwriter and have bought beats to post on streaming in the past. Do you think it's worth putting extra time in to produce beats and then lay vocals on those original beats? I think so, because then you don't have to deal with other people. The less you have to deal with other people, the more happy you will be in business. Okay, so that's my answer to you. Like any tips? Okay. Atala says, do you think if you produced 10,000 do you think if you produce 10,000 in 2 years, which I'm going to do at 23, you'll be good? Do you mean produce money or 10,000 beats? I don't know what that means. No, I don't think $10,000 in 2 years is a livable wage. So no, I don't think that's smart. Unless you're living with your family, that's not something you want to jump off the boat straight into. You want to prove that you can increase your income? Okay. Somebody says, advice for mixing for a phone speaker. It's really understanding this. Is there something in a phone called haptics? And haptics, from what I understand, is like the tactile thing a phone does. Like when a phone vibrates, it goes bzzz and it vibrates. You ever ask the question, what frequency is the vibration of that phone? It's actually a frequency. So if you listen closely, it actually makes a tone. It's a 200 hertz tone. That they send through the phone. I believe it's 200 hertz. I might have to go check ChatGPT on the exact frequency. I believe last time I checked, it was 200 hertz. And so basically it's a little speaker that sends out a 200 hertz tone and it shakes the phone. So if that shakes the phone, then it's resonating with the phone to vibrate the phone enough to move, is my point. And so if you're playing stuff over a phone speaker, you want to target that 200 for that specific effect, but also too, anything above that is more audible. Anything below that is less audible. So really the trick is like with bass is how do you create the harmonic series to go past 100 hertz into 200 without adding more sounds? And the way you do that is saturation. Saturation works based off of what are called harmonics. I don't have time to go into my whole sound design. I have a whole course for sound design. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/premium. But the short answer to you is that sound has multiples. So if the core fundamental frequency of this bass is 100 hertz, it has multiples called harmonics. So the second harmonic would be 2 times the fundamental. So that'd be 200 hertz. The third harmonic would be 3 times the fundamental. So that's 300 hertz. The fourth harmonic is 4 times 100. That's 400. So sounds that, what creates a difference in sound is their harmonic structure. Okay. Is it even harmonics, odd harmonics? Is it just random frequencies stacked up? It's all about the frequency content. And to answer your question, though, is you want to focus on a sound and make sure that it has a 200 hertz presence in that specific sound. So if your 808's hitting at 60, does it also hit at 120? Does it also hit at 180? Does it also hit at 240? How do you do that? You can use plugins like Spectre that make it a little bit easier to add harmonics to your sound. How should I protect my music? Can it be free? Yeah, your music can be free. You're protected by copyright. Whenever you publish anything online, you own the copyright. Now, whenever you want to pursue somebody about something, you have to register with the Copyright Gov. I don't know the time limits on that, but that's the short answer to you. Antonis says, I want to make music. I don't have a good voice. I'm learning to make beats, but it's so stressful. It's really hard. What should I do? I would use AI voice. You can run into programs, and I teach this in my AI for Musicians course, how to turn my voice like into literally Future's voice or literally Travis Scott's voice. There's an AI process for that. Even Sound ID, they have singers that aren't celebrities. You can transform your voice into one of those people. And because of the machine learning, it can make your voice sound better and more compressed because of the way it works. So you can sing your kind of crappier version and run it through their model, and it will sound like another person. And then you could auto tune it or whatever you need to do to make it sound more polished. But yeah, that's what I would do, is run it through some AI voices. I think that's going to be a huge thing in the future, is AI voices. Tamara says, how long have you been doing this? Probably since I was 14, but as far as dedicated, hardcore focused, I would say 10 years focused. Ever since I made a decision in 2014 to just lock in. But yeah, I'd say focused 10 years, but since I was 14 technically. SBZ says, my question for you is, what's the easiest way to know which new key you're in if you pitch something down or up? An entire melody had a melody in E minor, pitched it up 4 semitones. So 4 semitones, you're going to pick the note E on your keyboard. Let's say you're playing an E minor like this. Okay, so if I pitch that up 4 semitones with my keyboard, I'm going to take the root note and count up 4 notes from here. So it's root note and then count up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, sorry. Let's do that again. Okay, so here's E minor 11th. I'm going to take the root note and take it up 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're in the key of A flat. So let me play this by transposing my actual keyboard here. So instead of this chord, let me see here. Now we're going to get this type of sound. A flat minor. Even though I'm playing E minor on my keyboard, it's transposing it up 4 notes. All right, so that's how you do that. You just take wherever you were and you go up note by note or note down note by note. However many semitones you transposed it. So that's the quick answer for you. All right, so we're going question by question again, top to bottom. So if your question didn't get answered yet, it's because I didn't get to it yet. All right, anytime you Prospect P says, did you have a research process in finding your niche market? If so, please explain how it compares to the process in the internet economy pertaining to music. Yeah, Prospect P, as far as music, well, in the general, as far as YouTube, I would say, go to vidIQ. They give you the most accurate YouTube traffic. Let me just show you. Why am I trying to explain this? Hold on. Show you guys what the pros use here. Give me a second here. I got to load up my site. All right, so here is vidIQ, it's called. So this is the tool I use for understanding traffic on YouTube. There's other tools like Ahrefs and Moz and, what's the other one? I'm forgetting one of them. Ahrefs, Moz, and some Quantcast or SEMrush, one of them. I forgot. So you could use other sites, but this one's very accurate. So what you do is you go to the, where's it at here? The keywords tab, type in, type beat, for example, if you're doing type beat channels. Okay, type beats get 8 million views a month. Competition says medium. That means if I were to distribute this traffic evenly, it's about spread across. It's democratized enough to where people get enough traffic, but there's still too much competition to where I can't dominate this search just for the word type beat. So what I'll do from here is look at what's called the related keywords. Okay. So what you could do is click on this tab called related keywords. So again, we're still searching up type beat. We're under related keywords. We're going to go to where it says search volume, and I'm going to sort this going downward so that it starts at the highest search first and then downward. So my first goal would be do a jerk type beat. See, I clicked on it and messed it up. Hold on, I gotta do that again. Let's do this, flip it. Okay, so my first goal, now these keywords are too broad. Music, rap, beat, that's too broad, so I can't target those. But jerk type beat, very specific, has medium competition, and it gets almost 2 million views a month. Of course I'm gonna make that because the search clearly shows that people want that. Then Juice WRLD type beat, okay? The competition actually says a low, which means I would triple double down on Juice WRLD type beats. People probably don't make them because they can't play guitar. So I have an advantage if I have any friends who play guitar or if I use guitar, acoustic guitar loops, like Beach Boy, for example, in our Discord. Then you have Drake type beat. People trashing Drake on the Super Bowl and all this, but people are searching 1 million times a month, Drake type beat. So saying Drake is irrelevant is a complete falsity because anybody doing Drake type beats wants to make Drake type music. So shows you he's still very, very popular. Then you have freestyle beat. You know, you just go down the line, anything below 500,000 searches a month, it's kind of risky to build a video upon because you're wasting your time for a chance that that keyword may grow over time. So you have to kind of use your intuition, and maybe if you have enough videos in your catalog, then you go down to stuff that only gets 300,000 views a month. I would start at anything with low competition though, melodic type beat or Lil Durk type beat, stuff that's low, very low competition is the best. So Skrilla type beat, you know, 500,000 searches a month, but people aren't making videos about it. Okay, so that is how I would do my YouTube keyword. You can also use I think it's called TubeBuddy to do some keyword research. So yeah, that's how I find. I'll piece together a keyword and then I'll say, you know, I'll monitor over time to say, has this keyword diminished or increased in volume over time? That's how I decide what I'm going to build on, because anything can get 1 million views today and 0 tomorrow. Okay, so can't be fooled by stuff that just pops up and gets popular for a second. It's not going to last long at all. Stefan says, is it good to join a record label if I do videos with a lot of views, or should I be a lone wolf? It depends on what you need in life. Like, you could sign a pub deal for what, $10,000 cash, but if you can make $10,000 cash a month off of your beats or your YouTube content, why would you sign that? I mean, I don't know what your goals are in life, so I don't know. I don't know what you have. How do I get started on making rap beats? Like, what is good for beginners to do? Learn your music theory. Rap beats start with music first. It's all about the minor chord. Again, I said this before. And then the suspended second chord. Now from here, you can get into R&B, which is 7th chords like this. That's your R&B bag. And then you have jazz, which is like using more so 2-5-1 stuff like this. Or they might do something like this. I think I played that chord wrong too. Or you could just do 5-1s. It just sounds cooler. So here's 1-5-1. It has a jazzy feel because we're using that dominant to tonic. You know, those are the 3 lanes for hip hop. Outside of that, you have pop, which is like major chords most of the time, and stuff like that. Like, but are you making music like that? I don't know. I doubt it. So hip hop is about minor chords, suspended second chords. R&B is about 7th chords, and jazz is about understanding the dominant to tonic resolution. That's your answer. Can I use Ableton for? Oh, sorry. Clarence says, can I use Ableton with your music production courses? I teach on FL Studio, so if you're looking to master like the technical of a DAW, it's probably best for FL Studio, people who are technically trying to use that DAW. But as far as the mindset and the process of making beats, it applies to everything. What I had to realize is in the beginning, I was learning FL Studio, but I was trying to learn the beat making process as I was teaching FL Studio. So it's not just about learning the technicals about how FL works. It might be easier or faster for some people to move through their process, but it's about the process. The same way my mentor taught me mixing on Pro Tools. I didn't have Pro Tools. I had FL Studio. You know, I learned marketing from people who were using an email thing that I never had, but I applied it to what I had. So it just, you know, I'd say I teach concepts more than a DAW, but it is DAW specific though, in some cases. Produced by Simba says, I feel like my beats are sounding similar. How do I overcome this? You got to change the ingredients. You know, a beat has a process. You pick a BPM. So maybe you're using the same BPMs, like double time, like in 120 plus BPM. Try 93, try 88 BPM, try 84. Lower your BPM or go faster, maybe 190, 200 BPM. Try something different. And then choose a different key. Most people pick the same exact scale. So if you're playing in all the white notes all the time, which is like what I just played, how can we introduce some black notes to make it more jazzy? So what if we went, now we're in a different feeling just by introducing that black note. Simply by doing that. So, you know, musically, you might need to experiment with going outside of the key on purpose. So we have, what was it? The BPM was the first thing. Then you pick your scale, your key. Then you move into the chord type. So I just showed you how to go outside of the scale and build chords and everything. If you want to learn more music theory, just go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory. My mic cut me off, so let me say it again. busyworksbeats.com/music theory. That's where you learn music theory. So chords come next, then melody comes next. Like once you learn chords, basically once you learn chords, my fault, I keep forgetting to pull this thing up. Hold up. I can break this into a melody. So that is, you know, melody requires a chord, in my opinion. Most melodies you guys are trying to make, if you understood chords, you would have such an easier time making melodies. So yeah, I think what I'm telling you is that you need to go back to the ingredients of your beat making process and change something. Like instead of peanut butter and jelly, change it for turkey and cheese. Now you're making a whole different type of sandwich. So you're using the same ingredients over and over and over again. Antonis says, I want to make music. I don't have a good voice. Okay, I answered that earlier. Atalo says, I started music 2 years ago. Hold on, let me do something real quick. Shout out to everybody who's here. If you guys could smash that like button, I would appreciate that because that would help me be more enthusiastic here. Okay. Atalo says, I started music 2 years ago at 21, so you're 23 now. No background at all. I just learned everything. Now at 23, I want to produce every day. I feel sometimes I started very late. Nah, because I didn't get focused till I was, 22? So, I mean, you're still super, super young. Most people don't even focus at all. They're 38, still making the same beat they made when they were 14. So it's just about when are you going to focus? That's the question. Because people are doing stuff, but they're dabbling. They're not actually learning anything. They're just dabbling. Stefan says, is it good to join a... Okay, I answered that like 8 times. SBZ says, if there are any newer producers, I decided to make a little Discord for us if interested. One thing you got to do, SBZ, is realize you got to read the room. I'm not mad at it, but if you were in somebody else's room, imagine this is a party, right? We got 90 people at our party. You come in and you're drinking our drinks at the party. You're flirting with the girls at the party. And then you're like, hey guys, if anybody wants to continue this party, come to my house. And then 10 people leave the party. Do you think the original host is going to be happy? They're going to be like, why are you trying to take people out the party? You're killing the vibe. So I'm not that way, but it can come off that way. So you got to know when to pitch your ideas. It's usually on your platform. But I'm not trying to correct you. I'm just saying how it appears to other people. Appreciate it. It's a bit hard to understand the manual as a beginner, but I guess I just got to look up the work. Yeah, I'm reading that wrong. Suit says, how do I get started learning music theory? My favorite is teaching people chord codes. So if you close your eyes, for example, pick a random note, I can show you how to make a chord from any note on the keyboard. Let's say you want to make a minor chord. The chord code is called 037. You can get the chord code chart at busyworksbeats.com/music theory. So wherever you land is called the 0 point because it's a point of rest. There's no distance. You count up your keyboard to finish. You count up your keyboard to finish out a chord code. So again, wherever you land is 0. I landed on B flat. You don't even need to know what B flat is or where it is. And now we're just going to count it out. So this is 0 and count up note by note on your keyboard. 1, 2, 3. It's called the minor third. And then 4, 5, 6, 7. Play all those notes together. You now have your minor chord just like that. Play the root note, a couple octaves down. Got a nice chord for yourself. So I teach people how to make chords from number, and that's the fastest way to get into music theory because then you'll be hooked. You're like, okay, if I want to make a minor ninth chord, it's 0, 3, 7, 10, 14. I could literally do that anywhere on my keyboard. I'm going to close my eyes. I landed on G flat. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Play all these together. That's created a G flat minor ninth chord just like that. So if you can count, you can make chords. You don't need to memorize the scale. You don't need to memorize the staff, sheet music, and all this bullcrap. If you can count, you can make music. And that's the system I created called chord codes. It's based off a previous system called integer notation, but I customized it and called it chord codes with my own proprietary way of doing things. Dirty Goose says, okay, we answered that one. Step 1 to start producing, spam your beats in every unrelated space ever. Exactly right. All right, so I'm reading you guys' chat, slowly catching up to the current chat. Anyone down, feel free to contact me. All right. SBZ says, my Mac be making pop sounds out of nowhere, like the same sound it makes when you close it. Maybe your audio buffer length is too low. Okay, so whenever your audio buffer length is like 128 and below and your CPU and your processor can't take it, it starts to click and crackle because it's trying to handle moving numbers called floating numbers. And if your system can't process a block fast enough, it will start to glitch. So that's why that happens. Zivinaya says, what's your view on how AI will affect the future of the field of making beats, for example, Suno AI? So for anybody worried about AI, put it this way. There's a piano player who can play better than you. There's a guitar player who can play better than you. There's a singer who can sing better than you. There's a beat maker who is way better than you. There's a guitar player who plays better than you. AI is better than you most of the time. Does that stop you from building a business? No. So I just never understood that argument. Yecker says, and plus, the music business is one of the unique businesses because it's built off of copyright. That's what keeps music important, because without copyright, anybody could copy anybody and undercut everybody. But the cool thing about music is that what makes it valuable is you can sell your rights to people. So that's the cool part, or you can leverage your rights, I should say. So that's what you're actually selling. You're not selling music. You're selling rights to something. You're selling the attraction to something. Yecker says, sup game, how do I record my own 90s R&B samples to avoid copyright? What plugins are good for the vintage sound like R&B? Roland Cloud is going to be your best option. Roland Cloud. And you said, how do you record your own 90s stuff? Try, really study the dominant chord here. So my favorite thing is the sharp 5, sharp 9. So it'll sound like this. Okay, so once you understand the importance of dominant chords, this is a very R&B sound. And then we're going to drop it into the 1. So you count down 7 semitones from whatever your root note is here, which is D. And that's how you resolve that chord. All right, so that's all you really need to know for R&B. Also, too, how to voice chords. So I could voice, instead of playing D minor 7 this way, which is just all the notes like straight out played, I'm going to call transpose of the 3rd up an octave. You get a different style voicing. So this is going to give you that R&B 90s feel. That's how you get that that 90s feel. And then also too, you could try sixth chords, which in this case, we're gonna use the F major 9 in this case. And I'm gonna take that seventh and just take it down to the sixth, which is 9 semitones up from the root note. So I'm just playing one chord really, F major 9, then I'm making the sixth, and now I'm gonna flatten the third. We could add more tension by changing out stuff, but it's really about chord voicing for R&B, specifically 90s R&B, but it's also too about understanding how to go outside of the key using what's called a 2-5-1. So here, and I teach this in my music theory courses, so if I'm moving fast, I teach all this stuff. So here let's do 2-5-1 from C major, and then we're gonna move into the relative A natural minor scale. So here's 2, and then 5, and then 1. And now we can go from the 2 of the relative minor scale, which is, this is a minor 7 flat 5 chord, which is basically a diminished root. It sounds more complicated than what it is. So here we have this. Okay, so it's B minor 7 with a flat 5, in this case also a flat 9 because I'm extending it. And then we need to go to E, I forgot the chord here. There we go. And then back to A minor. So I just went to 2 different keys. Let's try that a little bit faster. I might mess up though. Okay, so it's all about that 2-5-1 dominant to tonic resolution. That's how you learn R&B a little bit faster, but also the voicing of the chords is important. What up, Phasals here? We got SBZ says, yeah, busy, real talk. All the hate you get is undeserved. I don't know if it's undeserved. I think I triggered a lot of people. You've helped countless producers not only get started, but kept us inspired and rocking with you. Thank you. I mean, I understand why people hate. They're not hating the person. They're hating the admiration and the adulation that people get. They're like, why are they praising him? They should praise me for the work I haven't done. You know, that's their internal need for validation rubbing them incorrectly. So it's not hating Busy Works Beats because they never talk to me on the phone. They don't even know who I am as a person. What people truly hate is how other people view you, the person they're hating. So that's what I had to realize. Produced by Damon9 says, should I use notes from one scale or should I sometimes add notes from other scales? So here I'm not thinking about a scale. I'm going out of scale on purpose. So I say go out of scale. Don't be locked to a scale. Now I'm about to go out of scale on purpose. We're about to go out of scale again. And we went out of scale again just now. So going out of scale creates the sound you're probably looking for. For the longest time, I used to think scales were just like you had to stay in them. And I was like, wow, that's the biggest lie in music theory. That's why I was like, why am I learning the traditional way? I need to make my own path in music theory because the way they teach us is very vanilla and boring. At work, fam, trying to type fast. That's funny. Ronik says AI. Oh, my chat just refreshed on me. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find my spot. Shout out to Graphic Music. Dang, I didn't realize how much chat was in between where I was versus. Dang, you guys chat fast. Holy crap. Let me find where I was. Dang, there's so many chats. Okay, here it is. Okay. Damon says, I often struggle with making beats for artists to rap on. I usually make beats that are complex and don't have enough space for artists. They sound like they are for a beat battle. How do I overcome it? Add your own hum to yourself or talking to your phone, a voice memo. You know, it doesn't need to be a professional recording. And just realize how much your vocal takes up the space of your beat. So while you're producing, like add bars or add like do something rhythmic to where a vocal would be. And you'll see very quickly that you will be overproducing a lot. Jiggy Jiggy Dance says, I have a couple questions. Firstly, how do I understand when I need to use a plugin? Like when I need to add saturation to a sound? Basically, if anytime a sound feels empty or lacks density, saturation is the key because it adds more frequency content quite literally. How do you know when to compress something? If something goes from like this to that, and it's just jumping around and it's just weird. Okay, then you want to compress it because it's just jumping and going all over the place. There's no right or wrong time to compress. It's just when do you want to control something? That's really the answer. I just don't understand it. And you said, do I need to master beats? I'd say for YouTube, yeah, you want to master your beats because it makes it loud and you want people to perceive your stuff as loud. Now, when you deliver the product after they buy it, you don't have to have it mastered. But for presenting it online, I would say, yeah, the louder, the better. Don't overly louden it, but you know what I mean. Should I chop my beats, or excuse me, should I chop my samples or stretch to tempo first? You should chop the sample first because you can't stretch something that isn't chopped. I see what you're asking, but no, you should definitely chop first because not every song is perfectly on a metronome. Especially if you're using older stuff or more organic stuff like orchestra or what's the one? Opera, stuff like that. It's not gonna be click, 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 click. I jawed it from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the, they're not gonna be on a metronome. You know, so you have to chop it first because there is no stretch. You're not stretching it properly. Religious says you would stretch the individual chops after you chop it. Religious says, what are some great foundations to learn music production? Go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. And I have free courses on my website if you go to busyworksbeats.com. So just check that out. Would you say an instrument? I wouldn't say you need to learn an instrument. If anything, keyboard. But follow what excites you guys. You know, you don't have to be forced into music. But if you want to learn music production, it's about learning your DAW first and then learning what makes a beat maker. So I have free courses. One's called the FL Studio 21 for Beginners course. The other one's called the Better Beat Maker course. Those will get you 90% of the way where you need to go. The other part of your path is going to be finding the right sounds. Okay, so you should be on the hunt for every drum kit you could find right now. That should be your number one thing. Not plugins right now. Hussein says, what are some free VSTs for melody making? Because I'm tired of using FL keys. I think I covered that earlier. Styrus is a really good one. I don't really think there are any good free ones anywhere. How to use snare? I'm missing part of the question there. Slayer Main says, I'm an Opium Rage producer who also can't play guitar. I have all the top plugins. I just can't seem to get that Cardi metal sound. He doesn't use much heavy guitar, does he? Playboy Cardi. I have full-on videos about this, but I'll show you guys a quick technique. So it's not about, firstly, let's just break it down. Hold on. It's not really about having the real instrument, in my opinion. It's understanding the music theory behind it. So Playboy Cardi sound is called quartal harmony. So I could take a note. We're going to count up 5 notes from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's called the perfect fourth. And then we're going to add that same note down an octave. Let me swap out the sound here. Hold on. Okay. So let's create a... We're going to copy this. Literally, it's the same distance, so we could just copy and paste. And then it repeats. Now, what makes Playboy Cardi sound special is they use slide notes and portamento notes. So over here in the top left of FL, we have, notes that are specific to FL Studio. These don't work with third-party plugins, meaning any other company trying to use these notes, it won't work. So I could do stuff like pitch bend up a whole step, transpose my chord down 2 steps, 1, 2. So now it pitch bends. So they use a lot of pitch bendy stuff. And that's how they create that sound. It's not really about the sound source, I would say, as much as it is about the pitch bending effects that they tend to leverage a lot. But if you're going for a rage sound, maybe look at Neural DSP. I mean, if you're looking for a guitar sound, look for Neural DSP. There's one called what's it called? Petrucci. That's the one I use. Archetype Petrucci. I would pull it up. My guitar's in the closet. I don't feel like loading it up. But that one's really good for a distorted guitar. So Neural DSP, Archetype Petrucci X, I think it's called, for the heavy metal sound, if you have a guitar. Zavigne says, what is your view on how AI will affect the future of the field of making beats? Again, there's people better than you right now. Is that affecting you? No. Koba says, do you currently use any free plugins? Rarely. I don't really use free plugins like that. Ram 8 Beats is top 3 plugins. If you mean for sound generating plugins, Rolling Cloud's really good. Omnisphere and Trillion combined, and then Keyscape. It's really hard for me to recommend other stuff because it's not good. Dr. Inconsiderate says, to start rapping and stuff, should you make beats yourself and rap over them? Or should you just look for free for profit beats on YouTube or buy the beats? If I was Dr. Inconsiderate, it might take a while to learn how to make beats. So it might take you if you're not dedicated to that process, it might take a while, like a long while. So I would say, my journey was I was an artist first, and we used to rap on hipstrumentals beats, which were like the remakes of the real beats that were coming out during the day, like Lean Back, those type of beats. And then I ran out of those beats that I liked, and then I went for I was like, I need to produce my own beats because I ran out of beats to rap on. So that's how I got into making beats. But I don't know, to each his own. It's a journey that you have to be really dedicated to. You can't just dabble into making beats. It's not going to be something you could just dabble in. So if you don't feel like producing it yourself, then you're gonna have to be buying free type beats, or whatever, using type beats. The only problem with type beats though is you have people who have terms and there's not unified terms of service or terms of use. So you gotta be careful with that. Perd says, what is one thing to focus on to make beats go from beginner to industry level? Well, the one thing I could say is timing. What makes this chord sound bad? Oh, sorry, I got 2 sounds on. Hold up. Let me see here. So I can play a cool chord and I can play it terribly because of what's called timing. I can't even make it sound bad. It sounds weird, right? Even though I'm playing a cool chord, it could sound cool in context of other stuff. But it's all about timing. Super Quantized is an amateur. Understanding that time offset is pro. Because understanding the groove is pro. The groove is the time difference between things in your song. The pocket people talk about is that groove that they're speaking of. And sometimes you have to delay your kick with the time offset knob. Sometimes you delay your hi-hat. Sometimes you delay your snare. Pros understand that. Because when you guys watch me making beats online, you might not understand that what shapes, you can have this idea of a song, but then it's very loose. And you'll notice that I'm not adding any more instruments. I'm not adding mixing plugins. I'm just going through fixing all the timing errors. And then the beat feels more cohesive. So that's the step that people really can't comprehend until they get deeper into music production. So what truly separates pros from amateurs is understanding timing. It's the same way I can pick up my guitar and I can't play on rhythm, whereas a pro rhythmic guitar can be right in the pocket forever. Timing is what separates beginners from the pros. Thoughts on Suno and the future of music production? I know Timbaland made Suno popular recently. Suno is incredible. Suno V4, incredible. I look at it like it's making samples for me, samples that I can't get. Think of it this way. We ran out of stuff to sample. There's only so many records from 1960 to 1980 that have that vibe. So it's we need more stuff to sample from. So Suno's creating a whole new sample pool of stuff for me. And that's what I use it for, is ideas. Sometimes it comes out with crazy ideas I would never think of, and it inspires me to make music. So that's how I use it. I don't see it as competition. I think people just don't know what they're talking about. Stefan says, busy, do some effect plugins work better with some generator plugins? Yes, but it's not probably the answer you wanted. Chef Dave says, should I chop my sample? Okay, we answered that. Danny says, how do you find your own unique production style? I could play this chord here with a simple piano, or I could switch it out for a different sound. So now I have a whole different sound. I don't even know what the sound is or what it sounds like. Okay, so now we're in a whole different vibe because I'm switching out the sound. Playing the same exact chord. Sounds a little weird. Let me swap the preset. Now we're into like a house type vibe simply by swapping out the sound. But also too, you could swap out the way you voice the chords. So instead of playing D minor 7 like this, I could play it like this, where the third is raised. Now we have more of an R&B type of tone. So sounds, the way you voice your chords, tempo, those are usually the things that separate the genre for unique styles. And you can combine different things from different genres. Try just going outside of your genre. Go outside the scale for once. All right. What is your view? Okay, cool. Sorry, y'all. Thank you for putting me on to Pigments. I forgot to do a video for them. Whoops. They recently launched. I completely forgot they sent me Pigment 6 or whatever the new one is. How do you learn all of the terminology in music production so you actually understand what tutorials talk about? You got to find a good teacher. There's too many people on YouTube who think they're teaching beginners, but they're teaching intermediate folks. But go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. We'll get you straight. And go to busyworksbeats.com. You can go to our free courses tab. Where's he reading from the chat? I'm reading from, I'm going top to bottom. So when this live stream started, I'm answering questions one by one. It takes me time to answer each question. So I'm just trying to get to people as they came into the live stream. Brandon says, I'm trying to master a track, but every time I listen back to the 808, it's overpowering. I tried lowering it in the mix and compress it through Maximus, but still the same results. I mean, if it's too loud, you got to keep turning it down. Or, I don't know. I would have to hear your mix. We do that on Friday. You probably don't have enough stuff in the 200 hertz range, and you probably don't have enough stuff in that 2K area to balance out the low weight. What is your view on how AI will affect the future? Okay, I answered that about 7 times. But this one says, how do beatmakers safeguard themselves from being rendered superfluous? Superfluous? I don't even know what that word is by AI. So basically irrelevant. Again, people are better than you in everything. They're better than you at marketing, music production, people skills, business, like you name it, bowling. There's people who are better than you. So like AI is not going to, what is AI going to do that's going to supersede you right now? Even if AI made a ton of YouTube videos and took up all the type beat keywords in the world, what makes people buy stuff? It's because there's a human behind it. You have a personal brand behind it. Most people don't just buy stuff because they find it online. It's because they bought it because they came from some piece of content. That's why I keep telling you guys to make content, not just upload type beats. It's not a business really. But it is a business for some people, but it's not a sustainable business to just keep uploading one keyword every single day with no face, no personality, no nothing, no business structure behind it. Religious Rant says, what are some great foundations to learn music production? Would you say an instrument? I think I answered that. Basically, just go to busyworksbeats.com. I'll help you out. When just starting, try to find Purdue. Okay. Dune 3 is out. Crazy. Can you rap and sing, or you can only produce? I do both. I don't like sing like R&B singer sing, but I know how to give a melody or two. It's actually my preferred thing to do. Have you ever used the Baby Audio BA1 synth? No, I haven't. They wanted me to promote it, but it didn't connect with me. I didn't like I don't know, it just didn't speak to me. Should I chop my samples or stretch the tempo first? Okay, we answered that already. My son mic gear up, so I might have to mute my mic for a second. Vital is a good synthesis VST for free. I didn't like the way the interface was. It's kind of hard to work around. Do you know what the best BPM is to use? There's no best. That's a very vague question. UVI is a new plugin. Let me see what that is. UVI plugins. Let's see what this. You said the new UVI joint. I like a lot of their stuff. I mean, I like all of their retro synth stuff. It sounds really good and the interface is really good. So I don't know what you mean by new. I'm on their website. Is it called Waveframe? That looks new. Mosaic. I feel like, they could do a better job marketing, but I mean, when you make products that good, I can understand why their marketing isn't the greatest in the world. I just wish they marketed more, like, because they need to be known and they're not like, I know they're part of FL Cloud, but that's not really marketing though. All right. Sorry, y'all. My son is just going crazy in the background. Not trying to sound elitist, dog. It's funny. Ant says, you got amazing answers and great analogies. Just a compliment. Thank you. Pika Path says, I'm 17 and recently I started learning music production, and every time I overthink about that I started late because some big artists start when they were young, and I'm worried. First of all, you're comparing yourself with people who you don't even know their backstory. Like Nick Mira, do you guys know his backstory truly? Do you know Internet Money's backstory? Do you know like the people they were aligned with as to why they were that successful? Like if you don't know that backstory, you're always going to be comparing yourself with people who you don't have the same variables that they had. So you guys got to be careful not to compare yourself. And shout out to Nick Mira, he's still relevant. But I'm saying that if everybody's trying to copy where people are right now, but they never ask, what did they do to get there? And if you don't have those same variables, you're not going to get the same results. It doesn't matter how you try. So I want you guys to look up the real story of who they're, tied to behind the scenes and why a lot of their acts are huge. There's a reason. When you line up with the music industry's top person, basically, or top family, I mean, they're going to plug you in. DNA says, yeah, bro, I'm using an analog gear. How can I achieve 90s style ambient airy pads using analog gear? You might need to run it through Valhalla Massive. If you're looking for, let me see if I have it on this computer. Do I have Massive? Or not Massive, sorry. Valhalla, yeah, wait, what's it called? No, Valhalla Shimmer is what I meant to say. So it's gonna take my piano from sounding like this to this. It just opens it up. So Valhalla Shimmer, my fault, I thought you could see the screen. Valhalla Shimmer is that plugin to get. All right, so that's the one for ambient stuff. Zanaya or Zanai, I don't know how to say your name. You keep asking that same one. He rewords it every time. How will beatmakers pivot to stay relevant in a world AI is becoming ubiquitous? Again, there's already thousands and thousands of videos competing against yours every single day. So what makes you relevant over the next person is your personal brand, tying into a community that exists, resonating with the community, solving their problems. AI does not have they can't go live. AI can't go live currently. They're not being human with each other. I mean, as simple as being a human. BusyWorks Discord has been some of the biggest help for me, for real. Shout out to Wavy's World. Thank you. Religious Rant says, what are some great foundations to learn music production? I think he didn't realize I got to his question. You said teach you a minor ninth chord? Well, you need to understand chord codes at busyworksbeats.com/music theory, because that is the foundation of everything. So basically, again, wherever you start is the 0 point called 0. Then you count up your keyboard note by note, including the black notes. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 0, 3, 7, 10, 14. is always going to create the minor ninth chord, no matter where you are on the keyboard. So that's that. What's the best way? And then go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory. So you could download the chord code chart. You could download it straight to your phone and have it as a reference. Zasani says, what's the best way to learn more about the business and industry and market yourself? So I have a lot of videos about how to sell beats, how to market. You just got to go on my channel and just do your research because I have a lot of those videos. Whatever it is, marketing, BusyWorks Beats. How to sell beats, BusyWorks Beats. How to build an online business, BusyWorks Beats. Always use my keyword after whatever it is you're looking for. You'll probably find it in YouTube. As far as the music business, earlier we had on our music industry, I'll say, we had on Daniel Cruz from Producer Royalty. If you guys want to learn the like business, let's just say the music industry side of things, he can guide you through that process because that's not my world. I don't focus on the music industry. Okay, so he can guide you through those steps. Lewis says, should I get Slate Digital's VSX headphones for mixing? The only headphones I can recommend is the Audeze brand. I can't recommend any other brand, not even Sennheiser. So Audeze brand, MM, the Manny Marroquins. Audeze MM series, there's MM100s. These are the MM500s. These are the ones I'm using. They sent these to me, but they literally make, I don't even use my speakers, barely anymore. And it made my Sennheiser sound like a piece of paper. My Sennheiser 598s and my Sennheiser 600s are right here. You guys can't really see them, but it literally made those sound like kiddie headphones. So it was such a jump in quality. I was like, what was I listening to before? So that is the difference. What do you think about standalone equipment? More so old school, like ASR 10. I mean, I've seen a video of a guy sampling on the ASR 10. It just looked like a frustrating process. Like, I can understand it from a texture perspective, but as far as a workflow perspective, you might get more frustrated than what you get out of the texture side. If you're going for the texture of the ASR 10, look at the, it's called the NAM profiles, NAM profiles. There's a plugin called Genome, which is the only one that can do it well. There's another plugin called, what is it called? Analog X, I think. Or no, it's called Genesis, I think, by Analog X AI. I use Genome. You can get on a free trial. The short answer is get Genome and download NAM profiles, NAM profiles. You could download profiles from like Past to Future Reverbs or Analog X sells them as well. And basically they ran the AI learned from machine learning. Basically you run a signal, a sine sweep through your outboard gear. Okay. And then the machine learning will figure out the differences in the signal. And so you can basically create what's called a NAM profile that emulates outboard gear to a degree. Is it 100% matched? No. But to a degree, you can match the differences between, between, a digital signal versus running it through some analog gear. So companies have done it for you so you don't have to waste time. And my point is, if you want the ASR 10 sound, you can go to a company like Past to Future Reverbs, buy their NAM profile, get Genome, which is a plugin. It is a paid plugin, but you can get a free trial. Basically, just create a new email every week. It's a 2-week trial. Make a new email, log in. You can access your stuff. Okay, until they figure it out. Hopefully, they don't watch these videos. Or you could just buy it. So. All right, my bad. Yeah, I had to clear my throat. Morbid says, how do you feel about Reddit for free samples, a little skit or a little sketch or nah? Yeah, of course. People go to Reddit all the time for drum kits. Now, as far as samples, like audio samples and loops and stuff, I've never found stuff on. I've never gone purposely to find loops and stuff. If you're looking for like classic hip hop samples, look at our Discord. We have them all listed. Just go to discord.gg/busyworksbeats. I'll show you guys on the screen. Give me a second. So here's what it looks like. When you hop in our Discord, make sure you click at the top where it says BusyWorks Beats and then go to where it says Show All Channels. On the left side, you want to scroll down until you see the downloads area. You want to look for where it says, where is it at? Did I rename it? Oh yeah, you want to see where it says hip hop samples on the left side. And then over here, it will show all the classic hip hop albums. Huge sample collection, huge vinyl collection from the 60s to the 80s right here. Jay-Z and Kanye West Watch the Throne samples, Dr. Dre's 2001 samples. Like any top rap album you could think of is covered here. Gang Starr, Jay-Z, Ghostface Killah, Wu-Tang, everybody. Like I sat here and listed all of these albums for you guys. So you just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and you'll find them. Okay, so that's how you download samples if you want to flip samples from like old records and stuff. So yeah, Reddit's good for drum kits. I use our Discord for like everything else. I mean, not everything else, but yeah, we have loops in our Discord contributed by people in the Discord. We have samples from old records. Now, are the samples from the old records competing against people making loops? You know, it's two different things. So it's like AI is just, it's just another person. You know what I mean? It's not like somebody's already better than you in every category of your life already. So yeah, when you guys ask about AI, that's how I feel. Intrusive says, I can tell you as a graduated student. Oh, you said, I can tell you are a graduated student with a degree in music. I actually didn't get a degree in music. I went for pre-med, but thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I did learn a lot about FL. I'm reading your questions top to bottom. So far, we didn't skip anybody, so this is good. Pika Paf says, I'm 17, recently started to learn music. I think I answered his question before, yeah. All right, cool. Does anybody know how to get samples cleared, says Imperial Stats? There's certain websites and people for that. I don't know their specific names. A quick Google search, sample clearance. And I think they were like the top company on sample clearance. TrackLib has an article about how to clear samples, but there's a sample clearance company called sampleclearance.com. Oh, wait, you know what? Their website is trashed. Okay, so that's not the company anymore. I guess what happened? Let's go to TrackLib's article. Let's see what they say. Looking to demystify sample clearance and discover the easy and affordable way to clear music like a pro? Look no further. I think this is pitching their product, actually, now I'm thinking about it. This might be pitching their product because they're pre-cleared samples. No, that's a great question. I'm going to have to do more research. There used to be another company that was on Google. I don't know what happened to it, though. Their website must be down. But it was called sampleclearance.com. So I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they got shut down. Not sure. But yeah, there is a point person who like makes it easier behind the scenes. It used to be them. I don't know what happened. You said, what up, Young Tank? Shout out to your new channel. Intrusive Thought says, you aren't making it easy to understand. What are you trying to understand here? If you're talking about chord codes, you know, I got to answer a question in like 2 minutes. So I'm rushing through a lot of these answers. So I understand I'm moving a little bit quicker than usual. So anything I go too fast on, you guys can go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory. I break it all the way down there. Is AI going to put beat makers out of business? That's a very primal way of thinking. No, I don't think that's the case. Again, has Metro Boomin put you out of business? Because Metro Boomin's better than you. More famous, has more placements. Is he putting you out of business? Like, that's the mindset that people have. Like, oh, man. Produced by Snow says, yo, I switched to Ableton because I want to make electronic music and to be a DJ, but Ableton is much more complicated than FL. Any tips? I agree. As far as workflow, it's just not exciting to produce on Ableton for me. It's very modular too, but any tips? I mean, try focusing on audio because I realized Ableton is great for the audio manipulation. I was going in Ableton trying to use MIDI, and that's where I messed up. For me, Ableton is all about the audio manipulation. So drag in loops, drag in samples, and chop it up and do flips like that. You might like it a little bit more. Sergio says, hey, Busy, do you know what the best BPM is to use for hip hop or pop? If you're going West Coast, you're going to be at 93 BPM, 90 BPM. If you're doing boom bap, you're at 84 BPM, 88 BPM, 90 BPM, maybe 93 at the highest or like the high end. If you're doing, what was the other question for hip hop and trap or pop? If you're doing pop, you're looking at danceable BPMs like 100 BPM, 108, 112, 115, 120 BPM, 128. If you're doing hip hop like trap, you're looking at 120 BPM, 140 BPM, 130. Anything in double time, like 150 ish. It's really about double time, how fast your hi hats need to be. But yeah, every genre has, its specific BPMs for the most part. There's a reason you don't hear house beats at like 93 BPM. It's too slow. Is AI gonna put? Yeah, okay. Mario says, "Where do you get your drums?" Reddit. Just look up every genre you could think of. Hip hop drum kit, Reddit. OBM drum kit, Reddit. Playboy Cardi drum kit, Reddit. Kanye West drum kit, Reddit. Just Blaze drum kit, Reddit. Whatever you could think of, look it up on Reddit. They will have a drum kit for it because those kids are really good at sound selection. Who won, Drake or Kendrick? I mean, Drake is winning as far as traffic online goes because, I mean, Drake is still being a Drake type beat. I don't see people searching up Kendrick type beat. So, I mean, if people who are driving the culture are still searching Drake type beat, that shows me that Drake has not been cast down any way because he's still influencing all these artists. So I don't see people trying to make Kendrick's type music, not in mass. So for that reason, I think whoever wins the culture long term. Why sometimes my tube amp won't go on. Sometimes I feel I gotta pray before I record a track. Tube amp. So you have like an Avalon. There's a company out on the West Coast. I forgot the name of their company, but they recover and they repair gear. I don't know if it's affordable or in your range, but you might want to look at that company. I'm following them. I forget what they're called. But if you go through my following list, there's a company, I forgot the name, that repairs stuff out in LA, but I'm following them. So hopefully it's easier to find it out of the 1,000 people or something that I follow. Coast Wavy says, how could I make my vocals slap with my drums? I don't mean timing. I mean like as if the vocals were with the drum chain, like compressed. Basically, it comes down to two plugins. I learned this from Streaky. So even if I take off my plugin chain here, let's take off, you won't be able to hear me. So let's first load them up. The first one's called the 1176 Rev A. Okay, the blue faced one. Okay, and then we're going to run through FabFilter L2. This is going to give us the volume. So basically, I'm going to turn off my stuff. Okay, so what we want to do is just crank up the input level and then turn the attack to about 3. I learned this from Streaky again. So now I'm picking up the signal. I'm saturating my vocals. So now you're hearing me more crispy simply by just cranking the input on a compressor. And then the L2 is for just taking this up a notch, really making it loud. Now for this video, I can't do that because I have spillover from my headphones. But you would just turn this up a little bit in your limiter, and as simple as that. It's really about compression. I forgot to add my EQ. So the EQ is simply because of the rumble on my desk and my AC unit. I normally don't EQ, but it's because of my rumble on my desk. So that's what I would add as well. And I have a noise gate because the mic has a weird little sizzle sound on it. Okay, so that's why I have a noise gate. So this would be the chain, but you only need 2 plugins, the 1176 Rev A for the saturation it adds, and then L2 just to make it sit on top of the beat. And that's all you need for vocal production. You don't need to overkill. But it's about having the right plugins, so that's what I mean. Check. All right. Da-da-da. Getting a little tired standing on my feet, y'all. I'm going to try to go another 16 minutes here. Patch Martin says, should I send my music to get mastered by a professional? There's a website called Aria Mastering. You can get really good mastering there for pretty affordable rates. Nobody talks about it because it's an industry secret, but it's called Aria Mastering. And always credit the producer. Where do you get your drums? As a beginner producer, what are some foundational tips to get started? Music theory does a lot more than people think. They think it's just about chords, but it's about moving through the music. If your music doesn't move anywhere, it's not going to be dynamic, and people aren't going to really follow the excitement of it. Messed up the last thing because I hit the wrong note, but so I just took you on a musical journey because I used music theory concepts to guide your ear. Most people who are beginner producers, they skip over all that and they just start drawing in drums and dragging in loops, which is fine. But their beats sound repetitive because the music is not going anywhere. There's no direction in the music. It's not like going somewhere and moving around. So it just sounds very boring and bland. Now, does every song need 18 chords? No. So just study music theory. I think that's going to give you the greatest. That's why our first foundational course is called Music Theory Essentials at busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. That's my foundation for everything I teach for a reason. Because without that understanding, it's hard to understand anything else. Somebody somewhere says, I think Ableton's looking for more complex is a good thing. You can mess with any patch directly with plug data to change it how you like. I mean, I understand as a sound designer, but if I'm like working, I don't want to have to go through 18,000 menus to get a sound, like that's just me though. Imperial Stat says, I'm making money selling beats, but I'm selling them cheap exclusives. You're undercutting the market right now. Make sure you have an upsell so that your LTV, your lifetime value of a customer, goes up. You don't want to keep undercutting because the average value of BeatStars beats is $26. So if you're selling anything below $26, that means you're losing money for no reason. The market's willing to pay $26 on average. So if you are selling your beats for 10, 15, then have a thing that it emails them after they buy to say, hey, you can get 10 more beats for 50. Like you want to upsell them something right away. The best place to do it is when people are happy about buying stuff. Religious Rant says, what are some... Okay, I think I answered that before. Is there such thing as recording vocals or raps then making beats around it? Yes, I've done that a couple times. Again, it's like taking your voice notes on your phone, recording it, and then making a beat around it. The main thing you need to do when you do that, though, is try to record to a metronome so that you just drag and drop instead of trying to figure out the tempo and all that. Archer, what up? He says, can I ask a question? For sure. Off One says, how do you build a customer list which you can resell from... Let me read this slowly. Off One says, how do you build a customer list that you can resell from beat sales or upsell? I'd stay away from selling your list because essentially you're selling an asset and your only asset that you own in this business. Now you could, I don't know any list brokers out there. I don't even think you could legally sell your contact data. There's a weird gray area and I haven't studied it enough to give you an answer, but I used to believe that it was illegal to do that. But I could be way wrong currently. I think people have to opt in a specific way. I just forget how it works. But yeah, I wouldn't. But long story short, you asked about upsells. Again, you want to hit people with an upsell as soon as they do something. Like if they opt into your email list, hit them with the upsell. Hey, get this, get my beat tape for free. Since you guys opted in, here's my pay beat tape you might like for a discounted rate. Hit them immediately with the upsell. So what was I going to say? So when people opt into your email list, hit them with the one-time offer, limited time. You opted into my email list. I have a one-time offer, limited time, it goes away after this. And it's a discounted rate or whatever. Or, people opt into I keep saying opt in. People buy your beat on your website and then you hit them with hey, you can get 10 more beats for half off if you just upgrade to this next package. It's kind of like at McDonald's when they ask you, do you want to make it a biggie size or whatever it's called? If you want to make it value size, I forgot the name of it. But, they ask you, hey, do you want to go to XL? You were ordering a small, but do you want to take it to the XL? So you always want to give that to them while they're buying their food. McDonald's is not going to wait for you to go home, go to sleep, wake up the next day, regret eating McDonald's. And then McDonald's hits you with, hey, would you like to upgrade that to a value meal? It's already too late. You got to get people when they're in the mode of buying to make these decisions because they're already emotional in some way. It's SPR says, bro, I'm 13 and I started producing for 5 months and my problem is my beats become instrumental and there's no space for vocals. Any advice? You're probably not confident enough because I used to be the same way. I wasn't confident enough to just sing into my own because I lived with parents, so it was weird singing around them. or my mom, I should say. So I would recommend, if you're trying to not overly feel the beats, at least sing into your phone or hum a melody or something, okay, over your beat so that you can understand how much space it takes up. So as you're making the beat, go. It doesn't have to be you actually singing, but you're going to understand very quickly how important the vocal is. That's a good practice, in my opinion. If your beat has no space in it, okay, bye-bye. Cool. I like everybody trying to help each other. You know about hood trap beats? You asked me that earlier. You never got to the question though. How do you build a customer email list to build recurring revenue easily? First thing is to understand that everything is not recurring revenue. Like I could buy socks today, doesn't mean I want to buy socks every month. I might want to even wear socks with holes in it until I feel like buying new socks. So certain things just don't require recurring revenue. Like, is beats going to be somebody's routine? You have to ask, what is their identity as a person? Do they rap for a living? Then maybe recurring would make sense. Did they rap every now and again? Then maybe, they have a 10% chance of signing up to recurring. But it's going to be hard for them to justify. When people spend money with you, okay, they're looking to multiply their money. So if I give you $10 to buy your beat, I expect to make $100 back because now I'm making money on my investment. If they're investing in something, they want the investment to go up, correct? And so recurring, you got to be careful with this because if you don't have the right target market, it doesn't make sense. You have to ask the question, why are people going to sign up? What are people signing up for your recurring service to do? Like, if they're buying beats every month, you have a monthly subscription to Beats. What are they using the Beats to do? Are they using it to put out streaming and they're making money on their streaming? Then help them make money on their streaming and then pitch your Beats as a way to help them make money. Or are they simply trying to rap on Beats every month? I doubt it. So it requires a very specific market is my answer. But how do you build the customer email list? You could use website builders like Framer, link that up to a site called Make, and then you guys could use Flowdesk, which is a very affordable email service provider on the come up. All right, so that's how you do it. Because you pay a 1 month fee. It's not like MailChimp and ActiveCampaign, which I used to recommend, or what's the other ones? MailChimp, Klaviyo, because they charge you based on contacts, which never made sense to me. It's like, oh, I made 10 more friends today. Now I got to pay $1,000 more to talk to them. Like, it made no sense. So yeah, the company Flowdesk, at least currently, they have a really low, affordable email list building option for you guys. I want to rap as well, but I hate my voice. I mean, who cares what people think? I used to think I couldn't sing. If you watch my old live streams, I'm like, I know I can't sing, guys, but let me add this thing. Now I'm just going in the booth acting like an R&B singer sometimes. It's just going to take repetition, basically. I'm getting a little tired, y'all. We got 6 minutes left. Do I have to know music theory to make beats? No and yes at the same time. You don't need to know it to make beats, but if you want to make beats more fluidly, yes. Do you do one-on-one consultations? I don't offer that, LoJack, but thank you for asking. How do you feel about Serato Hex FX? What's that? Oh, I think I saw that. Sound Oracle showed me that. I mean, it reminds me of Xenology effects. I don't use it though. Where would you start from absolute scratch making sample-based hip hop? I would first look up every drum kit on the internet. Drum kit, Reddit. Break drums, Reddit. Drum breaks, Reddit. Okay. And then the next thing I would do is look up every sample that I'm inspired by. So again, hopping in our Discord, we have all the hip hop samples from Jay-Z to Just Blaze to Kanye West to whoever you could think of, Wu-Tang, Jay Dilla. Once you get all those samples, then you were like, wow, this is the sample that Kanye flipped. Let me try to flip it my own way. And then you chop it up. You start learning how to chop up. Hip hop is defined this way. Drum breaks plus musical sample equals a hip hop song. So once you have the core ingredients for hip hop, you'll start making the songs that you grew up on because that's their equation. They grew up on a drum break, or they chopped up a drum break, or looped it or whatever, or chopped it up individually, and they compared it with a musical sample, and that's how hip hop came about. Yeah, Archer, you're in a Q&A. You could ask a question at any time. Mario says, what are the best drums? I have my go-to sounds. Just go, you can get them for free. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. Koba says, what's the most important thing I should focus on when it comes to mixing? Density, I would say. The density of your track. You could try plugins like Gold Clip just to see what density sounds like. Then you'll be like, okay, this is density. I understand it now. The dude Lucas says, hey, Busy, how can I make a bass that will make other sounds vibrate, distorted? How can I make a bass that will make other sounds vibrate, distorted? How can I do it? Basically, it's not the bass itself. On the mix bus or the master track, basically you want to clip that area so that it clips everything. Or you add a soft clipper or some kind of clipper, because now when the bass drives that clipper, it affects everything else. So put it on your master chain. You don't put it on the chain. You don't put it on the bass alone. That's how XXXTentacion got that like rippling sound where it's like and stuff's like fluttering. Same with Playboy Cardi. You have to run everything through the mix bus. And then when your 808 drives it super hard, it affects everything else. It modulates everything else. Archer says, I can't afford Autotune at the moment. I want to use Waves Tune, but cannot afford it. Is it best to use the free ones or none or some? I wouldn't even bother. You know, there probably are free ones out there. I would just sing without Autotune for now instead of using the free versions of stuff, because Waves Tune is pretty good, but Autotune is really, really good. So, I mean, you just got to save up, get your money up. There's no real alternative. Is MPC 37 worth it? I've never used that, but the FL Key 37 is worth it for Novation. Very good, very well done keyboard. In fact, my son is using it downstairs as a keyboard. Side chaining with the limiter. Is 3D sound mixing? It's 3D. So you mean like the new version of music where it's like all around you? I don't even know what the question is, unfortunately, but yes. I know the 03579 chords. That's not the chord code. Is this major or minor? And how would I go get the opposing major or minor chord? So Cyrus' question, he says 03579. Let's figure out what that even is. So basically 037 is the minor chord, the minor triad. The 5 in there, when you say 5 semitones, that's the perfect fourth. So basically that's an 11th chord. So it's a minor add 11 chord. And then you say 9, that's a major 6th. Okay, so I think you're mixing up chord extension language with chord codes. So for example, let's map out this chord. 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it creates like a weird dominant chord. I wouldn't play a chord this way, but doesn't even sound good. I think you're mixing up scale degrees though. So when I say ninth, which I should be saying ninth instead of 9, it's very different. These are called scale degrees. Ninth, but we say D minor 9 to be fast. But really it's D minor 9th chord. That's why I gotta be careful not being lazy. But the nomenclature. Now when I say 9 semitones, I mean 9 semitones. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's called a major 6th interval, 9 semitones. So very different language there. But I think you might be mixing up some of the language there. And that's because people get lazy like myself. I don't say minor 9th. I say minor 9 to say it faster. And that's what happens. That's why music theory is taught in a terrible way. So scratch vocal. Katz says, I'm really struggling for motivation. Do you have any ideas that can help me? Been trying to make a melody for Destroy Lonely for like 3 hours. Sounds like you just don't have the instruments or you're trying to figure out the sound selection. So I have videos about the Playboy Cardi sound. Check my live streams. You'll learn a little bit more from those. Because we did a live stream maybe 3 live streams ago for Playboy Cardi sound and Ken Carson. And I go through all the technique in there. and hopefully you get motivated, but it's too much to really show you right now. It requires a lot of technique. I showed it earlier in this live stream. I don't know if you were here, but I showed how Playboy Carti gets, it's called quartal harmony. And then we also use pitch bends inside of FL's piano roll. So I'm gonna answer 2 more questions and then I don't want to overly exert my voice here. Is it a good idea to make beats in the MPC, then export them to a DAW and rap on it? You know, whatever you get excited about, however it works for you. I have a couple of questions. Something's on my, feels like it bugs on me. I have a couple of questions. How do I understand when I need to use a plugin? Like when, okay, I think I answered that. Busy, did you grind to get noticed by scouters when you were starting out? Like what was your work ethic? I didn't get scouted by anybody. I think the first thing I did was I made a remake of Tom Ford instrumental by Jay-Z. That got me scouted by an MCN. Worst decision of my YouTube career was to sign to an MCN though. But they did get me monetized, I think, at the time, or more monetized or whatever, even though I was already monetized. So yeah, I did grind. I made videos after video after video. I have 6,000 videos. The average person that puts out YouTube videos, they have like 200 videos, and they're talking about work ethic. I make 10 videos a day. Like if people aren't matching that, then I don't want to hear what they have to say. Can you see my questions? Okay. What are the best free jazz plugins? Roland Cloud is probably the best answer for you. Or Labs is a free, what is it called? Spitfire Labs, I think. Look up their Soft Piano, it's called. They have a really good piano called Soft Piano. It sounds really good. For lo-fi too. I don't think I have Labs on this computer though, to demo it right here. But it's basically a felt piano. So if I had to, let me see if I have a felt piano. I know Keyscape has one. Let me just load it up real quick. So a felt piano is like that Drake sound, very soft. It doesn't have as much harmonic content. So it's this kind of piano. So that's a felt piano for you. And that's the kind of sound you get with that library from Labs called Soft Piano. It's kind of similar. It's not the same exact sound, but it's very similar. All right, y'all, I'm running out of juice. How to Dr. Dre. I have shorts on that. Just type in Dr. Dre BusyWorks Beats. I go in detail about that. Basically, it's about chord inversions to get that Scott Storch chord sound. How many producers you have worked with? How many producers have you worked with are famous? You can check all my testimonials on my Instagram. Go to instagram.com/busyworksbeats or just pull up busyworksbeats on Instagram. Go to my testimonial reels and you'll see the highlights or whatever. It's called testimonials and you'll see all the people. Or just type in the YouTube BusyWorksBeats exposed and you'll find that video of testimonials. I keep it on my website. So if you just go to busyworksbeats.com, scroll to the bottom, you'll see all the people that I've gathered. There's a lot more I haven't put in the videos and stuff. You said I'm adding the 808 with the snares at the same time, but I can't hear the snare. Yeah, it goes ta 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 3 C O da 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 3 C O. It's a 3 C O pattern repeated. Yeah, you just got to use the Roland TR-808 snare that usually cuts through, and turn it up. Turn your 808 down, fade it out, give it a decay curvature. You can find my 808, my go-to 808 at busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio because it's short truncated. It sounds like this. Hold on. So if you want hood trap, here's what I mean. So first we got to get the right BPM. So ta 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 ta. So somewhere around 90-ish. And let's go here. You want this kind of 808, it's very short. And then the Roland TR-808 snare, which is under packs. Go to Legacy Drums Vintage. This is the Roland TR-808 drum kit right here. and then grab the snare. This one right here. So hood trap is just stacking your 808 and your kick for the most part. It came from Meek Mill. I don't know why they call it hood trap. It's really just. So 3, C, O. This rhythm right here we go. Not used to producing at 95 BPM. And then you can take out some 808s to not make it overwhelming. Now, what you could do is also delay the 808 a little bit. That way the snare cuts through first and then the 808 triggers. So that's, in short, how they create that sound. And then you usually add some kind of brass or like a vocal chant over top. All right, y'all, I'm running out of juice. I've been live streaming for over 3 hours today, so this is starting to add up. So I gotta be. Is it better to be both a producer and artist or work with other artists? I say make your own thing. Attract people to you. Chasing people is working backwards. Can you recommend some good orchestral contact libraries? I don't use enough to give you a recommendation. I've heard Nucleus Core is probably one of the better valued ones. I haven't used it though. They're very expensive. Is being a producer mean you're also a songwriter? No. You can make beats, doesn't mean you're making songs. Do you think producers should at least learn keyboard? Yes, is the answer. You're not mandatory, but yeah, I'd recommend keyboard because you can play all the instruments on keyboard for the most part. Queasy says, what is your advice for somebody who is extremely new but has zero idea where to start? Go to busyworksbeats.com/FL Studio. Bro, do you know how to play piano? Keep it up? Yes, I guess a little bit. Who are my favorite producers? Pharrell Williams, Teddy Riley. Kanye West used to be, but he fell off big time from that list. And the Michael Jackson stuff is dope. Do I have to know music theory to make good beats? Nope. How to overcome beat block? All right, you guys have great questions. I just am running out of juice and I apologize. So we're going to have to do this again sometime soon. If you haven't already, come hop in with us on Discord. It's discord.gg/busyworksbeats. Smash that like button on the way out. That's all I ask.